लीजिएगा फिर आप।
मैं एक कल एक मीटिंग है, तो मैं अभी यहाँ से जा रहा हूँ गेस्ट हाउस, तो मैंने सोचा ये जाते
ठीक
जाते
है सर, ठीक है, ठीक
आपके प्रोग्राम में शिरकत करके चले जाएं।
है।
त्रिवेदी साहब है।
अब तो हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन बन रहा है, आज आया एक बार में।
अच्छा, तो यू आर द फर्स्ट टू गेट द न्यूज। हम दिल्ली में बैठे हैं, अभी पता नहीं है। अच्छा चलो, ये से कैबिनेट में
पास
हुआ
तो
था। तो इस पार्लियामेंट सेशन में आ जाएगा, विंटर सेशन में मेरे ख्याल से वो।
हाँ 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 हाँ, नहीं अच्छी बात है। कम इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पार्ट स्टार्ट होगा तभी होगा, क्योंकि स्टेट्स दे विल फॉर्म देयर ओन हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन लेटर ऑन। राजस्थान में भी हमने सजेस्ट तो कर दिया था, आई वाज द चेयरमैन ऑफ दैट कमिटी यहाँ स्टेट एनईपी 2020 इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के लिए। तो वी हैव आल्सो सजेस्टेड 5 बॉडीज अंडर हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन, दे विल इम्प्लीमेंट। अच्छी बात है।
वो कमीशन कहलाएगा कि काउंसिल कहलाएगा सर?
काउंसिल हायर एजुकेशन काउंसिल।
हाँ, वो स्टेट हायर एजुकेशन काउंसिल रहेगा शायद। हाँ,
मेरा टाइम बता देना मुझे कितना बोलना है, उसी हिसाब से मैं बोलता रह सकता हूँ लंबा भी। तो टाइम फ्रेमवर्क होगा तो आई शुड नो।
आई थिंक ऐसा कुछ नहीं है सर। यू नो, कैन एनीथिंग फ्रॉम 20 मिनट्स टू 40 मिनट्स एज पर योर टाइम अवेलेबिलिटी एंड दिस थिंग।
हाँ नहीं नहीं, हाँ मतलब मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल दे नो मेजर थिंग्स अबाउट एजुकेशन पॉलिसी, बट व्हाट आर द मेजर चैलेंजेस? इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पार्ट इज इम्पोर्टेंट।
और इस
कमीशन तो
प्रोग्राम में
बहुत।
हम ये सब 6 पॉइंट जो है उसके ऊपर थोड़ा सा फोकस कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि
हाँ हाँ,
मिनिस्ट्री वांटेड अस टू फोकस ऑन दिस।
तो मैंने कुछ देखा ही नहीं है, वो बता रहे थे कुछ भेजा था, लेकिन मैं आई वाज इन द मीटिंग। मैं तो अभी जस्ट आ करके सीधा बोलूंगा, नो प्रॉब्लम। बट मेजर जो पॉइंट आप बता देंगे उसी पे बोल
ठीक
देंगे।
है, एक प्रेजेंटेशन भेजा। नहीं तो ऐसा कर सकते हैं कि आप जो है अपना योर एक्सपीरियंस एंड यू नो
मैं
अंडरस्टैंडिंग
वैसे ही बोलूंगा।
ऐसे
आई
करते
विल
हैं
स्पीक।
20 से 30 मिनट, एंड देन मे बी समवन फ्रॉम अस, आइदर डॉक्टर प्रतिभा सिंह
हाँ
और हमारे कोलीग्स,
हाँ
दे विल प्रेजेंट ऑन द नैक का जो 6 पॉइंट्स है एजेंडा, दे विल
हाँ हाँ
यू। तो ऐसे करने से भी ठीक रहेगा।
हाँ, वही ठीक रहेगा।
हाँ, दैट इज बेटर।
हाँ, तो आपका जो क्राइटेरिया बेस्ड नेक का है वो तो डिफरेंट है, वो अलग है। मतलब उसके एस्पेक्ट्स को इसी में कवर हो जाएगा, लेकिन मेजर चैलेंजेस जो है ना अपने एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के,
बिल्कुल
वो ये
बिल्कुल,
है।
सही सही, ऐसे कर देंगे। विंदा जी, ऐसे ठीक है ना?
हाँ सर, ऐसे कर लेंगे। और इंटरेक्शन के लिए थोड़ा ज़्यादा समय दे देंगे, क्योंकि हम पिछले प्रोग्राम में भी यही देखे कि पार्टिसिपेंट को इंटरेक्शन के लिए थोड़ा ज़्यादा समय चाहिए।
हाँ,
तो अपने
ज्यादा दे।
नॉलेज और एक्सपीरियंस के हिसाब से आप कुछ 30 मिनट 40 मिनट जितना आप सर ले सकते हैं ले लीजिए,
नहीं,
उसके
मेरा
बाद थोड़ा
रिक्वेस्ट नहीं
इंटरेक्शन।
होगा। आई विल टेक 20 मिनट्स, मेन aspects I will touch about the education policy, then we will discuss, that will be better.
ठीक है।
बट वो 6 पॉइंट जो है इसके बारे में थोड़ा हाईलाइट होना जरूरी है। तो आप कोई भी कर दीजिए, इधर प्रतिभा जी और विनीता, आप जो,
यस सर।
क्योंकि
हाँ, जो 7 क्राइटेरिया बेस्ड असेसमेंट जो आपका है।
नहीं, ये नया 6 पॉइंट्स है, नए जो एनईपी के जो 6 पॉइंट्स हैं, जो हम स्पेसिफिकली प्रमोट करना चाहते हैं, वो थोड़ा सा इसमें बात कर रहे हैं। दैट इज द ओनली थिंग।
ओके।
उसमें ये एबीसी है, मेरे ख्याल से स्टार्ट ही
हाँ,
कर देते
दैट
हैं।
आई विल आल्सो कवर मेन एस्पेक्ट, और फिर उसको अपन डिटेल में डिस्कस कर लेंगे,
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
नो प्रॉब्लम।
हेलो।
हाँ हाँ, शुरू करेंगे वृंदा जी।
सर, वो राजस्थान हायर एजुकेशन काउंसिल से कुछ गेस्ट हैं, वो भी ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, तो 1-2 मिनट वेट कर लेते हैं।
अच्छा तो देन आई थिंक आई कैन लीव क्योंकि मुझे तो निकलना पड़ेगा प्रतिभा सिंह जी। हाँ
नहीं बस सर शाम तक शुरू करेंगे, एक लाइन बोलेंगे शाम
ठीक
तक,
ठीक
अदरवाइज आप शुरू कर लीजिए, उनको ज्वाइन कर लीजिए।
हाँ लेट देम जॉइन लेटर ना।
हाँ सर को बोलने दीजिए, फिर सर को जाना है दूसरे मीटिंग के लिए।
Yeah, good afternoon to all the participants, the panelists, the keynote speaker of today's webinar. We are India on behalf of NAAC and my personal behalf, I do welcome you to all this important webinar on NEP 2020. To begin with this webinar, may I request Dr. Jagannath Patil, Advisor NAAC, sir, to please brief the participants about the today's webinar.
जी thank you Indra ji, and it is my great pleasure to welcome today's chief guest Honorable Vice Chancellor Trivedi ji and other guests who are joining from the Rajasthan Higher Education Council, Directorate of Higher Education, eminent academicians from the state of Rajasthan, my own colleagues, Dr. Pratibha Singh from a Deputy Advisor from Delhi office, who will be offering some remarks on behalf of NAAC also, and Dr. Vinita ji. So it is my great pleasure to welcome you all for this session of webinar, a series of webinars that we are conducting countrywide, and particularly for northern region. This is the webinar, and we are thankful to our resource persons for today who will enlighten you about the issues and challenges regarding NEP implementation. As far as NAAC's current focus is there, we are concentrating on few areas like ABC, Academic Bank of Credits, on skill development, on Indian knowledge systems, on online and distance education. So these are some of the areas, and also outcomes-based education. So these 6 areas are the areas where ministry wanted NAAC to engage with the higher education institutions and stakeholders, sensitize them and try to take them on board. And that's why NAAC has taken initiative to talk to various higher education institutions and experts. And we are very happy to share with you that on behalf of our director, Professor Sharma ji, and our entire team of NAAC, we are already ready with a set of parameters which are to be included in the NAAC's assessment and accreditation process. So from 1st December onwards, you will see that every manual for assessment, let it be university or college or any other type of institution, there will be a separate set of parameters called institutional preparedness for NEP implementation. So how well you are prepared to align yourself with the various initiatives that are unfolding. A few things have been started, like ABC has been started, NAD is there. So few things are already started, and there are quite a few things which will be in unfolded in coming months, in coming years, and some might take even a decade also. But all those things, how as an institution you are prepared, that we are taking up. And with this, I once again thank you all and hand over the baton from my end to Dr. Pratibha Singh to take forward the discussions. Thank you. Namaskar.
Patil sir, Dr. Vimlesh Soni, Dr. Shruti Gupta, they have also joined.
जी जी, उनको भी मैं उनका भी स्वागत करता हूँ, और आई जस्ट हैंड ओवर टू डॉक्टर प्रतिभा सिंह फॉर फर्दर.
Thank you, Dr. Shyam Singh. I think we can proceed ahead with the further proceedings of inaugural address. And maybe after presentation, I think chief guest has already joined, so we can proceed with the address by chief guest. Vinita?
Okay, can I start, madam?
Yes, yes. Dr. Vinita? Am I audible?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. 1 minute.
You may invite the chief guest, and maybe later on we can have the presentation by NAAC.
Yeah. Ma'am, Shyam Singh will be introducing the guest. So I think he is on some call. Yeah, Shyam sir.
Sorry, madam, I was on an important call. So we are indeed very delighted, and also we take this privilege. Dr. P.C. Trivedi sir has joined out here. To go in details, it will take a lot of time. So with your kind permission, I'll make it as short as possible, please. Dr. Trivedi, PC Trivedi sir is the former Vice Chancellor of Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gorakhpur University. Dr. Ram Manohar Loya, Awadh University. Sir is also retired Professor of Botany from University of Rajasthan. Current Vice Chancellor of Jayanarayan Vyas University, Jodhpur. Sir has been President of Mendelian Society of India 2014 and still Sir is continuing. Sir is also the past President of Indian Botanical Society, past President of Indian Science Congress Association, past President of International Society for Conservation of Natural Resources. Sir has to his credit a lot of academic, research and administrative credentials also. And to go on details, it will take a lot of time. And Sir has been a stalwart in the field of higher education. Sir has more than 4 decades of experience in higher education, functioning at different higher levels of administration, academics, and research. So we are indeed privileged, and we also feel delighted that you have accepted our invitations. And we feel that the participants who are present today, and we from NAAC also will be immensely benefited from your vast knowledge and experience. So may I kindly request you, sir, to please share your experience on National Education Policy 2020 with us and the participants, please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Shyam Singh ji, Madam Pratibha Singh, Dr. Vinita Sahu, all the participants. I am thankful to the NAAC for inviting me to present my views on NEP 2020. As you are all aware that we had earlier education policy in 1968 under the leadership of D.S. Kothari, followed by 1986 education policy. Then Rajiv Gandhi was the prime minister. There was some modification in that policy in 1992 when the Narasimha was prime minister. But after 34 years, this 2020 NEP was prepared by Kasturi Rangan and his committee. And you know that there are so many new points. There are bunch of excitements. It is a policy which is reforming policy with potential to transformation, policy with made of dreams. And this policy will be for the next 15 to 20 years. As we all are aware that this policy covers all aspects from school level to university level. This is one of the major part of this new education policy, and which is not only covering technology, but it is covering science, humanities, language, vocational and skill development courses. So, and the most important part is that these policies earlier recommendations and policies submitted by earlier government. There are 5 major indirect pillars or 5 principles, that is access, equity, transparency, accountability and quality. Now, how to implement this new education policy is the major challenge nowadays, because we are going for multidisciplinarity, interdisciplinarity in this new education policy, and we need a speed, efficiency and diversity. And the most important part is that we need autonomy for all these things. You know that the major mission and vision is the implementation part, how we move towards new NEP. New NEP is just like a pudding that we have to make it, we have to serve it, we have to eat it. And when we test this pudding, whether it is good or bad, if there are some lacuna, then we have to improve our recipe. These are the parts for that education pudding. Now you all are aware that we have changed the name from MHRD to Ministry of Education. There will be 4 committees will be set up under Higher Education Committee. And the most important challenge is that all these 4 committees, they should have collaboration. They should have communication between them. They should have cooperation between them. Otherwise, it is very difficult to implement. I am very happy that this policy is student centricity is the most important part. They have a multiple entry and multiple exit for the student. But students have to be mature enough to select when they should exit, when they should enter, how they should do. Because earlier we have a 10+2 system, now it is 5+3+3+4. Then academic bank of credit is another important aspect, where a student, if he is doing for 1 year, then he will get certificate, for 2-year diploma, 3 years degree, and he can move from one college or university to another college, university. So we have to make a setup at the state level. In each state, we should have an academic bank of credit, so that student can use these facilities. So student is deciding, so correction will be very faster. We have to attract the student. Because this policy is a game changer in our Indian education system. Most important part, another is the multidisciplinary rating. For example, like BHU, they have more than 200 departments. But in most of the universities in India, we have technical universities are separate, agriculture universities, veterinary universities, they have their own discipline. But now, just like many IITs, where they have introduced medical, agriculture, law, management in their universities, in IITs, we have to introduce all these new subjects also. So we have to opening minds for all disciplines is another new part in this new education policy. Internationalization is another important thing. We are closed door now, but we have to internationalize. We should have collaboration with foreign universities. Earlier there was a restriction. Now we have to improve, promote, reciprocate with foreign universities. Now another important point is the challenges for implementation. This is the major thing, because government has already decided to implement this policy. First major challenge is autonomy. There are 4 types of autonomy: academic autonomy, managerial autonomy, administrative autonomy, and financial autonomy. Academic autonomy we already have in universities, but most of the vice chancellors, they are not using their power. Most of the professors or their bodies, academic councils, they are not using that academic autonomy. They have to use that one. Second is the managerial. That is, in most of the private universities, you know that the management play very important role. Otherwise, in government universities, the managerial autonomy is there, administrative autonomy. You know that most of the vice chancellors have administrative autonomy, but they are not using that autonomy presently, and there are many restrictions from the government also. But the fourth important autonomy is the financial autonomy, which determine or regulate all the other 3 autonomies. If I have academic autonomy, managerial autonomy, administrative autonomy, but if I don't have finance, then how can I implement all the things which are given in new education policy? For example, gross enrollment ratio during last 70 years, now we have 26.7% gross enrollment ratio. In the next 15 years, we have to increase up to 50%. Similarly, for school eligible enrollment ratio, we have planned for 100%. For that, we have to take the advantage of technology. Technology will help and speed up the enrollment of the higher education students in school level. Second important point is the another hurdle is the GDP. 6% on education government want to spend, but up till now only 2.5% of the GDP was granted, and even that was not been able to utilize by most of the institutions. Only government institutions are getting grant from the government university, not private and research organization. That is another lacuna, because they are also part and parcel of our education system. There are more private universities and private colleges. In India, we have more than 1,000 universities, but limited numbers are of government university. Most of them are private or deemed university. Similarly, most of the private colleges are there. More than 42,000 colleges are there in India, but limited number are government colleges. Only they will get grant. So what will be the future of the other colleges? How they will be benefited from this? Now, another important point what I feel that we are going to have 10,000 autonomous colleges. And you know that most of the autonomous colleges developed earlier, they closed down after some time because of so many problems. So that is another major challenge, that how we will have autonomy, we will give the autonomy to these colleges, and how they will operate in a proper manner. So this is autonomous um, colleges concept have to implement properly, otherwise that will create problems in near time. Uh, you know that the life is a challenge, every day is a challenge, and life without challenge is no challenge. So we have to accept this new education policy with challenge. But uh, you know that major problem all over India is the teaching post which are lying vacant. The best teachers are not available. They are not coming to the teaching profession, and 40 to 60% posts are lying vacant. So how to implement all these new requirements of new education policy without the availability of the teachers? What I feel that the stakeholders should be those people who have to serve for another 20 years, not the people like me who are going to retire or retired people. The stakeholders should be who are so who will serve that institution for next 20 years. We should have an industrial and academia and alumni association should be increased rate of knowledge in every 12 hours. You know that new knowledge is pouring through internet, through Google. You can get so many new things. Whether we are that we are ready for that challenge, we have to accept all these type of challenges. Multiple institutions. You know that autonomy should be given at the lowest level. Leadership, another important point, that vice chancellor's appointments. You know that nowadays many universities having substandard vice chancellors at different types of at level, and so they are not giving proper leadership. We should develop some criteria to appoint good leader. New vision should be there in there. Distant education is another important thing. Online education is required. Virtual education is required. I am a vice chancellor presently at Jain and Vyas University. And during this last year COVID period, we wanted to implement the so many things in our university. But you know that there are many villages in the remote places like Badmer, Jaisalmer, which are the desert area. There is no light. So how you can have internet accessibility? So all these things are related. We have to provide all these facilities to the people where colleges are in the villages, where basic amenities are not available. So this is very important, that we should have a research university separately, we should have a teaching university, and we should have a degree awarding university. Multidisciplinarity and holistic education is the need of the hour. Institutional autonomy should be given. It is very good that there will be a national research foundation to fund for outstanding research. More than 20 crore, 200 crore will be, I think, given to this foundation. That is a good step. Multidisciplinary UG education is the need of the hour. Revamping the curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment to promote interdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, and societal problem-based research, to introduce dual degree program. This is another requirement. Collaborate with foreign university. Then Adarsh Vishwavidyalaya of Meru. This concept is also very good. We should have new research, innovation, and emerging technologies. Artificial intelligence is coming in a big way. We have to introduce and use artificial intelligence at every step in implementing new education policy. In Rajasthan, I was the chairman of the committee where new education policy 2020 implementation was prepared, and we have suggested to the government to form Rajasthan Higher Education Council, Rajasthan Higher Education Curriculum Commission, Rajasthan Higher Education Recruitment Board, Rajasthan Higher Education Regulatory Commission, Rajasthan Higher Education Accreditation Council, and Rajasthan Higher Education Testing Agencies. All are the need of the hour. Otherwise, it is very difficult. ODL, online distant learning, is the need. Otherwise, you cannot enroll so many students in the regular basis in different colleges and universities. We need innovation, incubator center, quality research, transform Indian into higher education system. We have to have local skill development courses as per the local need. Light but tight is the need of the hour. And what I feel that whatever points I have given in my address, our government, they should utilize all these important points of our higher education policy framework of natural process. It is a progressive one. World top institution, we should collaborate with them. India has done well in higher technology and education, but not in research. So PhD, postdoctoral program, research industry is the need of the hour. Most of the top countries in the world, they have quality research, and because of that, they are earning so many things. So Indian UG students, they should be taken to US and other countries, or we should have research even at UG level, what I feel. Because many talents are there, we should utilize their talent at undergraduate level. PG research focuses our country. We should also invite the Nobel laureates. We should have very high impact factor journal research presentation. All these things are required in our country. हम क्या करते हैं, होता क्या है हमारे देश में, हम ख्वाहिशें करते हैं लेकिन उसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पार्ट नहीं करते हैं. ख्वाहिशों से नहीं गिरते हैं फूल जोली में, कर्म की शाखा को हिलाना होगा और कुछ नहीं होगा, कोसने से अंधेरे को अपने हक का दिया खुद ही जलाना होगा. हमको अपने आप को सबको तैयार होना है, अच्छे टीचर अपॉइंट करने हैं, अच्छे वाइस चांसलर अपॉइंट करने हैं, एंड हमको प्रिपेयर करना है. गवर्नमेंट शुड बी पॉजिटिव in providing all the necessary financial requirement to implement our new courses. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि गवर्नमेंट ने ये डिसाइड किया है कि यूजीसी, आईसीटी, एनसीटी को मर्ज करके हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन बना रहे हैं. सबसे बड़ी बात अच्छी है इस शिक्षा पद्धति की कि प्राइमरी एजुकेशन मातृभाषा में दी जाएगी, द लोकल लैंग्वेजेस, बिकॉज अर्लियर देयर वाज अ ड्रॉप आउट इन मोस्ट ऑफ द स्कूल्स. So मातृभाषा में जब एजुकेशन देना है तो you have to prepare such type of curriculum, you have to prepare the teachers, you have to train the teacher before starting all these type of things to increase the enrollment ratio in the school and colleges. जो skill development के लिए we need many trained teachers. They are not trained. We want to open the new skill development courses, but trained teachers are not available. So who will train the students? That is need of the hour. ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन के लिए इंटरनेट, मैंने जैसा भी को बताया, इंटरनेट फैसिलिटीज आर नॉट अवेलेबल इन द विलेजेस. हाउ वी विल spread our knowledge faster in the remote areas of our country? There should be a national level task force for assessment, because the NAAC is doing assessment, but I go to different universities and colleges as a chairman of the NAAC team, but I have noted that those colleges who are in the city, those colleges which are in the town, they have different types of things. They are doing, smaller colleges in smaller villages, they are doing better, but their parameters are not fit with the NAAC parameters. So आप चाहो कि सब एक साथ एक जैसा हो जाए, it is not possible. We have to provide the financial assistance, basic requirements, and we have to assess. We have also suggested state level accreditation council also in Rajasthan, so that we can prepare for national level accreditation. Online education we have to see. So all these things are there. In the new education policy, I said that it is a very good with lot of excitement, but implementation part, particularly the financial requirement and the training of the teachers and mindset of the student is also very important. We have to prepare the student in such a way वो right decision ले कि मुझे फिजिक्स के साथ में म्यूजिक लेना है, और यदि मैं वो कॉम्बिनेशन ले लेता हूँ तो क्या मुझे बाद में कोई जॉब में रखेगा या नहीं, whether we are prepared for that or not. We have to plan in such a way that every student will have some skill development, some innovation part in his career, so that he can be a independent person for the society, useful for the society. This is what I wanted to give in my address, and now we can discuss regarding different points. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your vast experience and knowledge and the different modalities of national education policy and the initiatives taken by Rajasthan government also for implementation of this national education policy. I hope there would be a lot of queries from the participants. My kindly request participants, either you can raise your hand or you can write your query in the chat box. We'll tell the eminent speaker out here to respond to your queries. The participants, now you're free, you may ask your queries. The ICT team is requested to please felicitate the question answer session.
I request the participant to raise their virtual hand if they want to ask any question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dr. Babagrahi, you may ask your question, sir.
Namaskar, madam. Namaskar, esteemed chair of this program. Dr. Pradhan from Jain Vishwabharati Institute, Rajasthan. I want to hear, sir, new education policy is meant for the all-round development, for the fullest development. How it is possible in the same platform, there are some private universities, women universities, and central university and state university. But the provisions are not equal for each and every university at par. During the geographical condition and different factors are there. Sir, please, is there any solution, please, sir?
So,
Could you repeat your question, sir?
श्याम सर,
Yes,
सर आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही सर, आप चाहे तो हिंदी में भी
yes, ma'am.
There is a slight change in the schedule. I think before going for question answer session, we have a presentation by Dr. Pratibha Singh ma'am, Deputy Advisor at NAAC. Am I audible?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yeah.
madam.
So, madam, will you share your presentation? After madam's presentation, we can have question answer session.
Okay.
Yes, I would like.
In meantime, I request participants to kindly participate in the presentation, and you can just note down your questions in one paper. And after madam's session, we'll be having a interactive session with expert PC Trivedi sir and Pratibha madam, and we all colleagues from NEP. So then we will be having an interaction session. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Vanita. So, as planned and as discussed earlier, I am here to present from the NAAC side the themes which are important, which are going to be implemented in the different manuals. Those I am going to discuss in today's presentation. So, national education policy, as you all know, is the vision is to provide access, equity, quality of education, and improving the teaching learning with technology. So it is very important that how we are going to improve the teaching learning process by the use of technology, new knowledge creation, innovation and ecosystem, and capacity building on the competencies, how we are going to implement, and research outcomes. So as Honorable Chief Guest has already highlighted that research outcomes of the universities and institutions are not up to the mark, and that's why the reason is for the Indian higher education institutions to be performing very low in the international rankings as far as outcomes of research are concerned, because those agencies basically look at the research outcomes, and in which the Indian institutions are not very good at. So this is the statistics of Rajasthan higher education system and the profile of the higher education institutions. So we have specifically 3 women universities in the Rajasthan. And the college density is around 37 colleges per lakh population. The Rajasthan comes on the rank of fourth in terms of the number of colleges, and there are 89 universities and 3,380 colleges in the state of Rajasthan. As far as enrollment is concerned, the male enrollment percentages is going at 52.2%, whereas for female it is 47.8%. And we have 5 dual mode universities. As already highlighted by Honorable Chief Guest, that the context of the higher education system varies throughout the country, and there are various initiatives that has been taken up at the state level by formation of the various councils and recommendations as given under his chairmanship. This will be very useful for addressing the regional variations throughout the country and throughout the diversity of higher education system of the India. So new education policy lays a particular emphasis on the development of the creative potential on the individual educational developments, and not only the cognitive capacities like literacy, numeracy, but higher order thinking. Nowadays we are talking about what the employment skills individual student is possessing. So higher order thinking, the critical thinking, the problem solving, the ability, creativity, all those things are to be integrated in the normal curriculum. Education is the key enabler and the best tool for achieving the economic, social mobility, inclusion and equity and equality, and taking into account the local and global needs of the country. So we all know that basically the country which is having it, education as a root means enabler. So that country is performing economical aspects are concerned or social aspects are concerned, their performance can be seen very high. So that's why the education investment is termed as the investment in the human capital, and that has become very important as far as growth of the country is concerned. So if we see the paradigm shift which is going to brought about in terms of pedagogy, there is a change or a paradigm shift from the behaviorism to the cognitivism and constructivism and metacognitivism domain. So it's not about the thinking level, but how the individual student is involved at the level of thinking, the depth of the knowledge, the participation of the students in the classroom, all those things are going to impact the overall personality of the students. The teaching centering education system is now shifting towards the learner-centric approach. The individual learning is going to shift towards the cooperative, collaborative, and participative learning. So how effectively we are able to gel with the colleagues, how effectively the participative learning is planned, all those things are going to come about, and how we are using effectively the tools and technologies to produce these kinds of environments, teaching learning environments for our institutions, that is also going to see. So expository learning is now shifting towards discovery learning and linear approach. That is very important aspect. Linear approach is now going to be replaced by the non-linear approach. So there are various recommendations in which multiple entry, multiple exit systems are going to come about, and in which it is not necessary for a student to perform linearly to get a degree once taken admission, but in a way they can come out and after some time they can join again the same institution and pursue the career they want to do. So linear approach, which was now followed by the institutions and the students in the career path, is now going to be replaced by the non-linear approach. So the first important highlight which is going to come in the national education policy is the academic bank of credit, and a very important guideline issued by University Grants Commission, and it has been announced on July 29, 2021 by Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Mr. Narendra Modi ji. So here the freedom and flexibility in the university degree granting system has been spelled out. The standardization within the Indian higher education system is a very important change which is seen here. And it involves the robust integration of higher education institutions and a move towards the internationalization. These are the four major promises under the academic bank of credit. It is very important to understand what this academic bank of credit is going to be about, and as highlighted, it is a virtual entity. It will be a virtual entity in which the credits will be accumulated, the credits will be redeemed, and the credit management process will be there, in which the credits will be verified, authenticated. So altogether, there will be a central agency which will be doing all these monitoring and the control over the credit transfers between the institutions. So this regulation enables the students to select the best courses or the combination of their courses. Right now also we are witnessing CBCS system which is being implemented at university levels, but there is important, even after implementation of CBCS, we are not able to implement in the spirit of what it was, because of very many reasons. The reasons may be many, and will be differing from institution to institutional level. So now this academic bank of credit, how it will be implemented, and what are the necessary requirements in terms of the regulation, in terms of the guidelines, in terms of the policies of the statutory norms or authorities of the universities and institutions, is very important how we are going to implement this. So Academic Bank of Credit is basically will be a digital bank in which credits, as already said, there will be a possibility of integrating multiple disciplines also, and there will be a possibility of integrating vocational courses also through this Academic Bank of Credit. So the ABC will be responsible for opening, closing, and validating the academic accounts of students, and there will be definitely eligibility criteria for institution to register in the Academic Bank of Credit. So the institutions who are satisfying the eligibility criteria will be able to participate, and there should be a mutual agreement between the awarding agency and acceptance of the credits by the different universities and institutions for implementation of academic redemption. Another important point which is there is the validity of the online and distance mode in the academic bank of credit. So all those courses which are offered through SWAYAM, NPTEL, Virtual Lab, etc. will be available for the credit reduction. So the highlights are already known to everyone. So multiple entry and multiple exit for the students, and the validity of these credits will be for 7 years, and transfer of the credits through single window after approval of source and destination academic institution. And only verified academic institution can upload the credits, and this improves the transparency and helps to build more flexible approach for the curriculum design and development. Now, linked to this academic bank of credit, the second important theme which is coming is multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary education. As we all know that the research will be possible, or the problems of the society can be solved if we offer the education in multidisciplinary kind of environment, in which the student of science should be able to learn the problems of the society also, and also social aspects, the emotional aspects of the country, so that they will be able to solve all kinds of problems and the environments. So therefore, multidisciplinary has become very important, and all these single disciplinary institutions are recommended to go for multidisciplinary education, in which all the mono faculty are recommended to join or cluster themselves with the other institutions so as to make the education multidisciplinary. So now the institutions are should visualize themselves over a period of time how they are going to become a multidisciplinary education in order to fulfill the recommendations given by National Education Policy. The next important theme which is spelled out third is in the national education policy is online and digital learning environment. So we all are or have already witnessed the online education in this pandemic period, and we have not utilized the full potential of this online education, and how this online education and the pedagogy and the teaching learning environment can be improved in a way that it will replace or in a supplement the face-to-face learning that has to look upon. So these are some of the important online mode of operations that are there, that online learning and blended learning approach and e-learning, virtual learning, virtual universities and skill development universities are some of the initiatives in this area. So technology-based enabled learning can not only bring in the transformational change in the online education experience, it can also enhance and supplement the regular classroom pedagogy. Technology offers a teacher the opportunity to become the more collaborative and external learning beyond the classrooms. Educators could create a learning communities comprising of students, fellow educators, and experts in various disciplines around the world. So once we offer an online program, the effectiveness is also a responsibility of ourselves, like how we are going to assess the online, because these are the challenges which comes through the online pedagogy or the online environment. We deliver a lecture, we offer a program in an online mode, but the assessment is not that much effective. So there should be different mechanisms to assess the performances of the students who are taking the courses through online. Whenever we talk about the assessment, there are different mechanisms in which the proctored examination and the other means are there. So, but those things are possible only if we have a platform supporting these online education. So connectivity forms an issue, and the more we discuss the connectivity issues among the stakeholders of the higher education institution, the more benefit we are taking out of the various policies. So very important is to have the discussions among ourselves or among the stakeholders or among the policy makers, because you all will be discussing the problems with the different stakeholders. So this is all about means how you are going to implement the online education. So it is important that you should bring about the points and why it is not possible and what are the problems. You have to jot down all those things in the implementation of the online and digital education. So associated with online education is offering of the courses because this is where spelled out as one of the important means for improving the gross enrollment ratio. So how the gross ODM courses will be useful for improving the GER over a period of 2040, 2035. It is spelled out that GER should be at least 50%. So with such high aim in the GER improvement, which is expected out of higher education institution. So effective implementation of those open and distance learning program is also becoming very important. The next important theme which is spelled out in the national education policy is outcome-based education. So outcome means organizing everything in an educational system around what it is essential for students. He should be able to successfully able to deliver those things at the output of the learning experience. So this is the definition which is given by SPADI. Means arranging everything towards the outcome. So we will be giving the outcome in prior to offering the courses, and the students should be able to produce those outcomes at the end of the learning experiences. So this is outcome-based education. So there are various outcome-based mechanisms in which you can organize the education system into more towards the outcome-based education. These are some of the advantages of using outcome-based education. It relevance, discourse, clarity, provision of framework, accountability, self-directed learning, flexibility, guide for assessment, and facilitates the curriculum evaluation. So all those things are already known to everyone that why we should go for outcome-based education. So this is already told to you. Now, outcome-based education is different from input-based education, and wherein the product defines the process. Means we define that students are our products, and we are expecting certain qualities from our products to be fulfilled. And as an employment agency, the employer is looking at those products, whether the student is able to produce that thing, that knowledge or not. So those are primarily known to the educational institution, and the curriculum and teaching learning will be designed in order to fulfill those requirements of the products, which is nothing but our students. So the premises on which the outcome-based education is based is every student and a graduate is unique. Each student or graduate has his own characteristic in terms of learning levels, in terms of life experiences, in terms of learning styles and approaches for the future career-related actions. The quality, the depth and breadth of learning experience made available to the students while the higher education institutions help to develop their characteristic attribute. The graduation attribute reflects both disciplinary knowledge and understanding, the generic skills, including the global competitiveness, all the students in the different academic fields of study should acquire and attain and demonstrate. So starting with a clear picture of what is important for a student to should be able to organizing and then making everything like curriculum, instruction, assessment to make sure that learning ultimately happens. Developing a clear set of learning outcomes around which all the system components can be focused, and establishing the conditions and the opportunities within the system that enable and encourages all students to achieve the essential outcomes. So defining the outcome should be based on the effective participation of stakeholders, effective process of implementation, and whatever outcomes we are defining should be observable and measurable. If we are defining certain attributes, we should be able to measure those attributes out of a particular curriculum, out of a particular course. That is the objective of defining the outcome-based education. So this is the flow diagram, outcome-based education flow diagram, in which the outcomes are designed. Developmental process is downward, whereas attainment is upward. Means we will be starting with the vision and mission of institution, and then based on vision and mission of this institution, the program educational objectives will be defined in a way that will be defining the program outcomes, and then the program outcomes will be defining the course outcomes. Whereas when we talk about the attainment of those outcomes aspect, the course outcomes attainment will be measured first, and from the attainment of the course outcomes, the program outcomes will be evaluated, and in a way that will be evaluating the program educational objectives, and in a way that will lead to the attainment of measurement of the vision and mission of the institution. So this is the overall process flow in which the program educational objective leads to the defining of the program outcomes and program specific outcomes, which in turn defines the course outcomes. This course outcomes define the plan of the teaching, learning and the course, and the process is like once this plan is deployed, we will be assessing whether whatever plan we have deployed, we are able to achieve the desired outcomes. In case if we are not able to achieve the desired outcomes, where is the lacuna? The deficiency will be observed, and that deficiency drives the further process of fine-tuning of the outcomes and the plan of action for future cycles of attainment. So this is all about outcome-based education. The next thing which is coming, because it is in detail, is the skill development. That the skill is very important, because all the graduates that are coming out of higher education institutions, according to the Skill India report, they are unemployable. So it is important that at least the component of skill should be integrated with the mainstream education, and therefore the skill development should be integrated in the higher education institution in a main curriculum, and the facilitation of the skill component in the mainstream is to be acquired. So there are different levels of the certificate, diploma, and degree programs as far as skill development is concerned, and NSQF defines all those levels. So institutions and the universities are requested to introduce those programs at the diploma level, degree level, so that the skill can be integrated with the mainstream education and the employability of our students can be ensured. So this is the 6 themes which we were, now one more thing is there, the language aspect. So integration of the languages, Indian languages into the curriculum. So how we are offering the programs, those programs should be offered in the Indian languages. So at the regulatory level, we are witnessing very many efforts in which the programs are converted into the Indian languages, and already AICT has given a recommendation of converting some engineering programs, because those are the challenges wherein all the rural area students were not able to pursue their degrees or should will be hesitant to go for any professional programs. So now we are looking and witnessing all those changes which are going to come about, wherein the translation of the SWAYAM courses or the translation of the engineering courses are taken care by the regulatory authorities. Now, it is our role to come forward for having translation done at our institutional level for our teaching courses, and regulation and regulatory bodies are going to facilitate all those things. So these are the 6 important things which NEP is talking about, and we at NAAC are trying to measure these efforts of the institutions in by incorporating these 6 themes in our manual. So therefore, you are requested to go through the changes which NAAC is going to do after after 1st December, whatever IIP are going to submit. The manual format will be having all those changes, and you please look into it and try to make your effort in channelizing all the issues that are there in the implementation aspect of national education policy, particularly to these 6 themes of the NEP. Thank you very much for the patient listening, and I think we can now stop at this point, and we are open for the discussion.
Thank you, madam, for highlighting briefly about the 6 important parameters of national education policy. Now the forum is open for question and answers from the panelists and the participants. The IC team, we are kindly requested to facilitate the question and answer session, please.
I request the participant to raise their hand if they have any questions. Dr. Pradhan, you may ask your question, sir.
Ma'am, namaskar.
Sir, can you be little bit louder?
Namaskar, ma'am. Good afternoon to all of you, esteemed all dignitaries and speakers. I'm Dr. Pradhan from Rajasthan, Jan Vishwavarti Institute. I want to share some views relating to national.
प्रधान जी, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है. आपके आई थिंक कुछ बैंडविड्थ का प्रॉब्लम है. अगर आपके साइड से पॉसिबल हो तो चैट बॉक्स में आपका सवाल लिख दीजिए, हम यहाँ से पढ़ लेंगे इसको.
हाँ, yes, sir. Yes, sir. To share in chat.
सर, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही.
Yes. Yes, I want to say hello. Am I audible, sir?
सर बहुत लो है, फीबल है आपका वॉइस एकदम।
Hello. It is audible.
पर इसको थोड़ा सा वॉइस अगर आपका रेस करेंगे, अगर आपका माइक का इश्यू है तो आपके पास कोई भी हैंडसेट है जो आप उसको लगा के पूछे, चैट बॉक्स में प्लीज लिख दीजिए आप।
Hello. It is audible.
सर इस पहले से बेटर है लेकिन अभी भी नहीं सुनाई दे रहा सर।
Sorry, I want to share with my chat box.
सर आपके पास एक ऑप्शन है, अगर आप देखेंगे चैट करके एक ऑप्शन लिखा हुआ है, उसमें प्लीज क्लिक करके आपका सवाल जो भी पूछना है आप उसको वहाँ पे लिख दीजिए, हम यहाँ से पढ़ लेंगे, तो जो एक्सपर्ट्स हैं आज के उसका जवाब दे देंगे सर। Pusha, can we move ahead to another participant please?
Yes, sir. I request the participant to raise their hand if they have any questions. Sir, I couldn't see any participant. Yes, Professor Rathore, you may ask your question.
Good afternoon to all the dignitaries, Professor Trivedi sir, Dr. Pratibha ma'am. So just one question. I am working as a principal at the Gitanjali Institute of Pharmacy, Gitanjali University, Udaipur, Rajasthan, and I am also working as a NEC coordinator here. So, sir, just want to know that all the national education provisions of the national education policy and the incorporation of these points into the NAAC accreditation and assessment process. So, what are the initiatives that are being taken for the capacity building to the teachers, particularly because the teachers are the key players in making all these things successful. So, can you please put some light over it? What are the things that are being planned for that capacity enhancement of the teachers to implement all these things, sir? Capacity building and capacity enhancement. Like just training sessions and all other things, sir. These are there anything planned? This is my particular question. Thank you.
At Rajasthan level, we have suggested government that under Higher Education Council, they should develop a body where the different types of trainings will be provided to the teachers as per the requirement. Just like the administrative officers training centers are there, we are also going to have, and even before the initial appointment of any teacher or lecturer in any universities or colleges, we are planning to give 6 month training to all the teachers so that they should be update and they should learn the different technologies useful for teaching and learning. And those who are already engaged teachers, we are also planning to give training to those teachers at training center.
Yes, sir, and that's agree, sir. But you are talking about 6 month training. This is relevant to the government organizations, and as we all are aware that
For every teacher, if they are interested, they have to fill up the form and some fees will be there, and that training will be provided to every teacher. That is what I was raising the question that in the higher education, this NEP, for the grants, they are telling that grants will be given to government university. What I feel that they should provide all the facility to all the type of institutions, even they are private or regular, I mean state funded universities. They should give training and fund to every institution. Otherwise, we can't improve the system of education in India because we have more private colleges and universities than government universities.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your answers.
श्रुति गुप्ता जी, ask your question, please.
मैं इसमें कुछ निवेदन करना चाह रहा था यदि परमिशन हो तो।
जी पूछ लीजिए सर। जी विमलेश जी प्लीज।
सर ये टीचर्स ट्रेनिंग के बारे में आपको कुछ मैं बताना चाह रहा था, यदि अनुमति हो तो मैं बताना प्रारंभ करूं? मेरी आवाज आ रही है सर?
Yes,
बिल्कुल।
sir.
हाँ,
We can hear.
अभी हाँ, रूसा में एक कंपोनेंट है फैकल्टी इम्प्रूवमेंट, जिसमें राजस्थान यूनिवर्सिटी को ग्रांट अप्रूव हुई है। उसमें इनिशियली इंडक्शन प्रोग्राम्स ऑर्गेनाइज किए जाने थे, जो न्यूली रिक्रूटेड असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर्स के लिए थे, जो फर्स्ट टाइम था। तो अभी पिछले 2-3 साल में जितने भी असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर में आए हैं, उनको लगभग सभी को इंडक्शन प्रोग्राम के तहत ट्रेनिंग करवाई जा चुकी है। और उसका डिज़ाइन कुछ इस तरह से था कि जिसमें टीचिंग पेडागोजी, आईसीटीज, जो भी टेक्नोलॉजीज है उसके बारे में उनको अवेयर कराया जाए। तो ये प्रोग्राम शुरू हो चुका है। अब इसमें थोड़ा सा प्रोग्राम की जो डिज़ाइन है उसमें भी जो डिस्कशन हुआ राजस्थान यूनिवर्सिटी में, तो उसमें जो प्राइवेट कॉलेजेस हैं उनके टीचर्स को भी अलाउ करने की बात हमने की है। और जल्दी ही वो और भी प्रोग्राम इसमें इनिशिएट करेंगे, जिसमें प्राइवेट कॉलेजेस के, प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के टीचर्स भी अप्लाई कर सकते हैं। और इंडक्शन प्रोग्राम के साथ साथ, जैसा कि अभी सर ने निवेदन किया था, कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग और दूसरे अदर प्रोग्राम्स के लिए, वो प्रोग्राम्स भी इसमें स्टार्ट होंगे। तो एक शुरुआत हो चुकी है राजस्थान स्टेट हायर एजुकेशन काउंसिल के तहत। सर, मैं निवेदन करना चाहूँगा कि राजस्थान स्टेट हायर एजुकेशन काउंसिल ऑलरेडी कंस्टिट्यूटेड है, जो फिलहाल थोड़ा लिमिटेड प्लेटफॉर्म पे अपना काम कर रही है। यदि आगे कहीं उचित प्लेटफॉर्म मिला तो हम चाहेंगे कि इसी काउंसिल को, जो कमीशन या स्टेट के लिए बनाने की बात आ रही है, इसी को इस तरह से डिजाइन किया जाए कि वो जो भी टास्क इसको दिया जाना है वो इसके थ्रू यदि किया जाए तो एक सेटअप ऑलरेडी बना हुआ है, तो बहुत ज़्यादा इसमें मेहनत करने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। सिर्फ एक्ट के थ्रू इसको हम इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं। थैंक यू सर।
हाँ, बहुत अच्छी बात बताई आपने। वी हैव ऑलरेडी गिवन डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ बॉडीज टू द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट, और वो इम्प्लीमेंट होगा तो डेट विल बी इम्प्लीमेंटेड स्टेट लेवल एंड एफिशिएंटली। जो आपने अभी बताया, ह्यूमन एचआरडी सेंटर्स हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल, इन जैन एंड व्यास यूनिवर्सिटी वी हैव रिसीव्ड 50 different types of courses, induction program ka and all these things, and already we have done 10 such type of programs, and UGC has sanctioned us 50 programs, highest in the country. And most of the teachers from the private universities and colleges all over India, they are joining our these different types of not only refresher courses, induction program, and so many. You can see our website of Jain and Vyas University, and you will get this type of information in detail. All the teachers from private universities and colleges, they are also joining this type of courses. But for the RUSA grant, you know that there is a limitation that only A grade universities will be given now further this RUSA grant. And so what I feel that we have to improve the financial autonomy of the institutions. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to implement this new education policy at a grassroots level.
Thank you, Vimleji and Trivedi sir, to go into the details of this higher education council, especially in terms of Rajasthan state. May I request Shruti ji also have a question to ask? May kindly ask Shruti ji.
सर, त्रिवेदी सर ने जो कहा, मैं उसी का ही कंटिन्यूएशन में ही कहूँगी कि ये बात बिल्कुल सही है कि नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 बहुत अच्छा एक हमारे लिए एक विजन डॉक्यूमेंट है, पर राजस्थान के रेफरेंस में एटलीस्ट हम ये कह सकते हैं कि थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लमेटिक ज़्यादा इसलिए है क्योंकि फैकल्टी क्रंच बहुत है, स्पेशली यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में। तो यहाँ पे वाकई में हमारे लिए थोड़ा सा चैलेंजिंग होगा। मेरा क्वेश्चन अभी हाल फिलहाल ये था कि जितनी भी हम अभी ये 6 पैरामीटर्स पे हम बात कर रहे हैं एनईपी के, उसमें से चाहे हम आउटकम बेस्ड एजुकेशन ले लें, चाहे एकेडमिक बैंक ऑफ क्रेडिट्स ले लें, चाहे मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी है कि नहीं हमारा इंस्टीट्यूशन, लैंग्वेज हम कौन सी यूज कर रहे हैं, सीबीसीएस है, स्किल प्रोग्राम्स, हम जितने भी इसके पैरामीटर्स लेते हैं, यहाँ पे हमारे जनरल एजुकेशन गवर्नमेंट कॉलेजेस जो अफिलिएटेड हैं किसी ना किसी अफिलिएटिंग यूनिवर्सिटी से, उनका क्या रोल रह पाता है, क्योंकि उनके हाथ में ज्यादा कुछ बचा नहीं है। जब तक कि जो अफिलिएटिंग यूनिवर्सिटी है वो उस सारे क्राइटेरिया को नहीं इनकॉर्पोरेट करती है, तब तक जनरल एजुकेशन कॉलेज वो चाहे कुछ भी अपने लेवल पे वो शुरू करना चाहे, पर शायद उसको उतनी ज्यादा फ्रीडम नहीं है हमारे एग्जिस्टिंग सिस्टम में। तो हम जब भी हम अपना इसका नैक का हम बनाएंगे, आप लोगों ने ऑब्वियसली तैयार करा ही होगा इसका जो मैनुअल है एफिलिएटेड कॉलेजेस का, तो प्लीज इसमें इस चीज को थोड़ा सा और आप लोग सिंपैथेटिकली कंसिडर करें, क्योंकि हमारे हाथ में ज्यादा चीजें होती नहीं हैं, लेकिन नंबर हमारे जाते हैं। तो इसलिए इस चीज को थोड़ा सा आप लोग कंसिडर करें। और मैंने सवेरे के सेशन में भी जैसे कहा था कि यूनिवर्सिटीज के लिए मैंडेटरी करा जाए, उनको कंपेल किया जाए कि वो इन चीजों को, जितने भी हमारे पैरामीटर्स हैं, इसको जल्द से जल्द वो इनकॉर्पोरेट करें, जिससे हमारे कॉलेजेस को भी उसका फायदा मिल सके। थैंक यू।
हाँ श्रुति जी, आपने सही बात कही है. दिस इज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द यूनिवर्सिटीज एंड वी आर आल्सो वेटिंग green signal from the state government. And at state level, our chancellor is organizing so many meetings with the vice chancellors, and we are preparing all these documents. And whenever there is a green signal from the state government that you implement, because our state government has not gone through the processes through act and also through विधान सभा, अभी वो न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी को वहाँ एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया है उन्होंने उस तरह से, सच. एंड दैट विल टेक टाइम. अभी सेंटर में भी हायर एजुकेशन कमीशन बनने वाला है, वो बनेगा एट स्टेट लेवल. एंड बट व्हाट आई फील दैट दे शुड आल्सो स्टार्ट फॉर स्कूल लेवल, एटलीस्ट आल्सो दे शुड स्टार्ट दैट वहाँ मातृभाषा में शिक्षा देनी है तो ट्रेनिंग देना है. और ये वी हैव टू प्रिपेयर फॉर न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी इन डिफरेंट वेज. ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग, ओडीएल सिस्टम है, ये जो भी चीजें आ रही है उसके लिए मोर ट्रेनिंग शुड बी गिवन एट यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल. मैं कॉलेजेस के टीचर्स को, खासकर सबको यही कहना चाहता हूँ कि जो अभी एचआरडी के सेंटर्स के माध्यम से बहुत सारे कोर्सेज हैं, इन फॉर एग्जांपल इन अवर जैन एंड व्यास यूनिवर्सिटी वी हैव EMMRC center, and that also, this center also provide training to the teachers for using different types of technology. तो वो अधिकतर प्रॉब्लम यही है कि टीचर्स ही कम है. गवर्नमेंट कॉलेजेस में भी, एक कॉलेज में मोर देन 30% 40% पोस्ट आर लाइंग वैकेंट. प्रिंसिपल उनको छोड़ना नहीं चाहता. इन अवर यूनिवर्सिटी आल्सो मेनी टीचर्स वांटेड टू जॉइन सो मेनी कोर्सेज. यदि हम उनको ज्वाइन करने के लिए कह देंगे तो यहाँ पढ़ाएगा कौन? ये बहुत सारी कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रॉब्लम्स हैं. There are many departments where no teacher is available. तो एक हम इसको इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के लिए मैंने बताया कि इन टोटल वी हैव टू सी दैट ऑल द रिक्वायरमेंट्स, खासकर टीचिंग पोस्ट शुड बी फुलफिल्ड इमीडिएटली सो दैट वी कैन इम्प्लीमेंट इट प्रॉपरली. Any new question? Any question?
Dr. Meenakshi Jain, you may ask your question. Meenakshi Jain,
Hello.
ma'am.
Hello.
Yeah, you are audible, madam.
Hello.
Yes,
Am
ma'am.
I
Go
audible?
ahead. Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. मैं श्रुति मैम की बात को ही आगे बढ़ाना चाहूँगी कि हम लोगों के लिए बहुत ही मेजर इशू है, ये बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है कि एक तो पूरे स्टेट में कोई एक यूनिफॉर्म पॉलिसी किसी भी चीज़ के लिए फॉलो नहीं हो रही है, ना तो सिलेबस है. और हम जब रिसर्च की बात करते हैं तो बहुत दुख होता है ये कहते हुए कि आज 24 साल से मैं पढ़ा रही हूँ कॉलेज में, लेकिन मैं रिसर्च सुपरवाइजर नहीं हूँ, क्योंकि हमारी यूनिवर्सिटी हमें परमिट नहीं कर रही, इवन तो यूजीसी के गाइडलाइंस हैं उसके बावजूद. तो ऐसे सिर्फ मैं नहीं हूँ, बहुत सारे लोग हैं, बहुत सारे कॉम्पिटेंट लेक्चरर्स हैं, प्रोफेसर्स हैं, एसोसिएट प्रोफेसर्स हैं, जिनको इस तरह की कोई अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिल रही है. और जबकि अपने यहाँ पर हायर एजुकेशन का जो मेजर कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट पार्ट है वो गवर्नमेंट कॉलेजेस ही हैं. तो कुछ चीज़ें ऐसी हैं जिनकी वजह से बहुत सारी डिस्क्रिपेंसीज हैं, उनकी वजह से हम लोग चाह करके भी कुछ नहीं कर पाते. अपने लेवल पर हम प्रोजेक्ट्स तो कर लेते हैं, लेकिन वो उतने बेनिफिशियल नहीं है रिसर्च के लिए भी, जितना कि अगर हमें रिसर्च सुपरवाइज़र बना दिया जाए या उस तरह की चीज़ें. जबकि अपने लेवल पर कर रहे हैं तो ऐसा भी नहीं है कि हमारा रिसर्च हैंड बहुत अच्छा नहीं है, और बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं, बहुत सारे प्रोफेसर्स ऐसे हैं. तो क्यों ना एक यूनिफॉर्म पॉलिसी हो ऑल ओवर स्टेट। क्यों हम ट्रांसफरेबल जॉब में हैं, इसलिए इन चीज़ों का हमें खामियाजा भुगतना पड़ता है कि भाई कभी हमारे कॉलेज में पीजी है, कभी हम नॉन पीजी को पढ़ा रहे हैं, तो क्या एक जगह पर हम एलिजिबल हैं और दूसरी जगह पर नहीं है। तो ये इश्यूज भी हैं जो इनको फेस कर रहे हैं हम, तो इन प्रॉब्लम्स को सॉल्व किया जाना चाहिए।
ना आपने सही बात बताई, ये प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि हमने अभी जैना व्यास विश्वविद्यालय में हमने एक रिसर्च सेल बनाया है, और हम
जी
सभी कॉलेजेस के अंदर जो भी सुपरवाइजर बनना चाहता है या रिसर्च सेंटर बनाना चाहता है, उसके लिए एक मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट फिक्स कर दी, एक चार्ट बनाया है। यदि वो फुलफिल करते हैं तो हम उन सबको रिकॉग्नाइज कर रहे हैं। वी हैव ऑलरेडी स्टार्टेड दैट प्रोसेस। मैं चाहता हूँ
सर
स्टेट लेवल पर हो, जो आपने बताया हायर एजुकेशन काउंसिल जब बनेगा अपना स्टेट का, तो ये यूनिफॉर्मिटी आएगी। मैंने आपको जैसा अभी जिक्र किया था कि वी हैव सजेस्टेड 4 डिफरेंट बॉडीज अंडर हायर एजुकेशन काउंसिल। वन इज द क्यूरिकुलम कमीशन बनेगा, जो
जी
90% सिलेबस पूरे स्टेट का कॉमन होगा यूजी लेवल का, और 10% आपकी यूनिवर्सिटी अपने लेवल पर एज पर रिक्वायरमेंट चेंज कर सकती है। तो दैट विल हेल्प टू एबीसी, जो एकेडमिक बैंक ऑफ क्रेडिट है। यदि आपका सिलेबस एक नहीं है, तो हम एक जगह से दूसरी जगह यदि ट्रांसफर होता है आपका, तो उदयपुर यूनिवर्सिटी का जो बच्चा है वो जोधपुर में ट्रांसफर होता है, तो वहाँ फर्स्ट ईयर में कुछ और पढ़ रहा है, यहाँ अलग पढ़ रहा है सेकेंड ईयर में। तो ये सब यूनिफॉर्मिटी के लिए दैट बॉडी विल टेक केयर ऑफ। जो एक तरह का सिलेबस होगा 10%, और उसको हर साल रिवाइज करेंगे हम। दूसरा है रिक्रूटमेंट कमीशन, भी हमने तो सजेस्ट किया है एज पर न्यू यूजीसी 2018 रेगुलेशन। उसके अंदर डिफरेंट तरह का रिक्रूटमेंट प्रोसेस रखा गया है। जैसा अभी आरपीएससी से होता है वैसा नहीं होगा, तो उसको भी यदि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट एक्सेप्ट करती है तो वो होगा। सिमिलरली रेगुलेटरी कमीशन होगा। प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटीज अलग अपना डिग्री आप फर्जी बांट रही है, तो रेगुलेटरी कमीशन नहीं होगा तो उनके ऊपर कौन रेगुलेट करेगा। वो भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। एक्रेडिटेशन काउंसिल हम स्टेट लेवल की बनाना चाहते हैं। टेस्टिंग एजेंसी हम बनाना चाहते हैं, जो कि आपका एंट्रेंस टेस्ट पूरे राज्य का कॉमन हो और सबके एडमिशन उसके माध्यम से हो, तो बच्चों को अलग अलग यूनिवर्सिटी और कॉलेजेस में फॉर्म भरने की आवश्यकता नहीं है। ये सब चीजें हमने प्रपोज की हैं, जैसे स्टेट गवर्नमेंट एक्सेप्ट करेगी। ये बात निश्चित तौर पर आपने जो कहा है कि सुपरवाइजर पहले, अभी जो कंडीशन है उसमें 5 इयर्स का पीजी एक्सपीरियंस होना चाहिए, ये बना रखा है। तो वो इसलिए क्योंकि वो वहाँ की लाइब्रेरी और वो सब चीजें सुविधा उपलब्ध है या नहीं। तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि रिसर्च सेंटर अप्रूवल के लिए हर यूनिवर्सिटी इस तरह की बॉडी सेल बनाए, और वो सबको अप्रूव करे, तो ज्यादा से ज्यादा टीचर इन्वॉल्व होंगे। अच्छी बात है ये।
सर, यहाँ पे एक चीज़ और कहना चाहूँगी कि लाइब्रेरी और जिस तरह की आप फैसिलिटीज़ की बात करते हैं अपन, तो आजकल तो ऑनलाइन रिसोर्सेज भी इतने ज़्यादा हमारे पास है कि हम कहीं पर भी जा कर के किसी भी रिसर्च सेंटर पर अगर कुछ लैब वर्क भी है तो कहीं दूसरी जगह से हम उसको कर सकते हैं। तो ऐसा नहीं है कि पर्टिकुलर वहीं पर बहुत सारी फैसिलिटीज़, क्योंकि बहुत सारे कॉलेजेस ऐसे हैं जिनमें ये सब चीज़ें नहीं हैं, और अभी कुछ सालों तक तो कोई चांसेस भी नहीं लगते कि ऐसा हो पाएगा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में डेवलपमेंट। दूसरी एक चीज़ सर
नहीं,
और
आप जो
कहना
बता
चाहूँ।
रहे हैं वो आप जो
जी
बता रहे हो बिल्कुल, ये सब बातें हमारे दिमाग में है, और हमने हमारी वाइस चांसलर्स की जो कॉन्फ्रेंस होती है स्टेट लेवल पर, तो हम पूल करना चाहते हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल, सम फैसिलिटीज आर अवेलेबल इन राजस्थान यूनिवर्सिटी, सम एट उदयपुर यूनिवर्सिटी, सम एट जोधपुर। तो हम ये बताएंगे कि दीज आर द फैसिलिटीज अवेलेबल, तो उसको डुप्लीकेट करने की जरूरत नहीं है। किसी कॉलेज के पास जो बहुत अच्छा माइक्रोस्कोप या कोई एचपीएलसी या जो भी रिसर्च के लिए साइंस में जरूरत है, या कोई लाइब्रेरी की बुक्स है जैसा आपने बताया, अब तो सब ऑनलाइन है। thousands of journals are available online, books are available, तो वो लिटरेचर का और ये प्रॉब्लम तो बिल्कुल नहीं रहेगा। लेकिन हम चाहते हैं कि जो रिसर्च हो वो भी क्वालिटी रिसर्च हो, ये नहीं कि सब स्टैंडर्ड रिसर्च लोग कराएं। तो जो जो प्रॉब्लम अपने यहाँ यही आ रही है कि हजारों पीएचडी निकल रहे हैं, लेकिन देयर पेपर्स आर नॉट पब्लिश्ड इन द गुड इंटरनेशनल जर्नल्स। तो वो हमारा पीएचडी कराना बेकार है एक तरह का। हम डुप्लीकेट वर्क कराते रहते हैं, तो इसको भी एक स्टैंडर्ड पैरामीटर के माध्यम से यदि जब तक नहीं होगा, तब तक नैक का एक्रेडिटेशन में जब हम जाते हैं अलग अलग कॉलेजेस यूनिवर्सिटीज में, तो हम देखते हैं कि टोटल जो असेसमेंट 70% असेसमेंट इज डन बाय नैक, और वहां पर असेसमेंट है। अब जो पहले ए ग्रेड कॉलेज थे वो बी हो गए, बी वाले सी हो गए। मैं अभी अभी 25 कॉलेज में गया हूँ जिनका पहले ग्रेड था वो उल्टा हो गया उनका, बिकॉज दे हैव नॉट डन क्वालिटी वर्क, क्वालिटी टीचिंग, जो भी पैरामीटर्स हैं। तो उसके साथ हमको तो ज्वाइन करना ही पड़ेगा, ये भी बड़ा ध्यान रखना आवश्यक है। और नेक का मैंडेट भी यही है कि हम क्वालिटी के ऊपर ध्यान नहीं देंगे तो बेकार है ये सब चीज करना।
हाँ, सर इसके लिए तो कोई रेगुलेटरी बॉडी अपन फॉर्मुलेट कर सकते हैं।
नहीं, वो
एक
हमने
चीज और
सजेस्ट किया है,
जी
स्टेट एक्रेडिटेशन काउंसिल भी हम बना रहे हैं, जो कि स्टेट लेवल पे भी एक्रेडिटेशन करे हर कॉलेज का, और ये और हर बार रेगुलर, क्योंकि अभी क्या होता है कि अधिकतर 90% कॉलेजेस ने राजस्थान में नेक कराया ही नहीं है। सब डरते हैं कि हमको सी ग्रेड या कोई ग्रेड ही नहीं मिलेगा। बिकॉज ऑफ दैट फियर नोबडी इज गोइंग फॉर दैट प्रिपरेशन। और कम से कम स्टेट लेवल पर आपको फंड तभी मिलेगा जब आप हर साल एक्रेडिटेशन का कराएंगे और आप इम्प्रूवमेंट करेंगे, तो दैट शुड बी देयर।
जी सर, एक चीज और मैं कहना चाह रही थी कि जो बोर्ड ऑफ स्टडीज है उसमें भी गवर्नमेंट कॉलेजेस का पूरा इन्वॉल्वमेंट होना चाहिए। एक्चुअली हमारा कॉलेज है यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ राजस्थान से एफिलिएटेड, और इस तरह का वहाँ एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट कर दिया जाता है कि जब हम लोग वहाँ यूएस की मीटिंग में जाते हैं तो हम लोगों का रिप्रेजेंटेशन बिल्कुल जीरो है, और हम लोग इतने सारे चेंजेस सिलेबस में करवाना चाहते हैं, पैटर्न में करवाना चाहते हैं, लेकिन वो हो ही नहीं पाता है क्योंकि हमारे हाथ में कुछ नहीं है। तो एग्जैक्टली जैसा अभी श्रुति मैम ने बोला था, ये हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ा दर्द है कि हम इतने सालों से इस प्रोफेशन में हैं, फिर भी हम बहुत कुछ चाहते हुए भी कुछ भी नहीं कर पाते हैं।
देखो मैडम, एक और बात बता दूं, एक राजस्थान के अंदर हम कॉमन एक्ट भी ला रहे हैं। अभी क्या है कि हर यूनिवर्सिटी का अपना अपना एक्ट है, उसके अंतर्गत बोर्ड ऑफ स्टडीज बनी हुई है। मैं ही आई वाज द चेयरमैन ऑफ दैट कमिटी आल्सो, जिसमें कि कॉमन एक्ट बनेगा। इसमें देर आर सम थिंग्स विच आर मिनिमम फॉर एवरी यूनिवर्सिटी। अभी हर यूनिवर्सिटी का अपना अलग अलग एक्ट है और उसकी बोर्ड ऑफ स्टडीज का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अलग है, उसकी प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही है। मैंने अभी आपको बताया कि हमने जो रिकमेंड किया है वो स्टेट सिलेबस कमिटी, करिकुलम कमिटी काउंसिल का एक किया है, जो कि स्टेट लेवल पर बनेगी, जिसमें कि डिफरेंट यूनिवर्सिटीज और कॉलेजेस के लोगों को इन्वॉल्व करके एक बेसिक सिलेबस बनाया जाएगा एज पर द गाइडलाइंस ऑफ द यूजीसी। जो यूजीसी ने भी अपना नेशनल लेवल पर एक सिलेबस बनाया, जैसे कि एनसीईआरटी की किताब है पूरे देश में चल रही है, वैसी यूजीसी ने भी वो सिलेबस बनाए हैं। कुछ यूनिवर्सिटी ने एक्सेप्ट किए हैं, कुछ ने नहीं किए हैं। कई यूनिवर्सिटी ऐसी होती है जो राजस्थान यूनिवर्सिटी या जयनारायण ने बना लिया, उसको एक्सेप्ट कर लिया। सीकर और भरतपुर और यूनिवर्सिटी का अपना कोई बोर्ड ऑफ स्टडीज कोई सिलेबस अपना इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं बनाते। तो ये इसीलिए हम स्टेट लेवल पर एक सिलेबस बने और हर साल अपडेट भी हो। इंटरनेशनल लेवल पर जो वर्क हो रहा है उसके आधार पर हमारा स्टेट का सिलेबस हर साल अपडेट हो। और 10% हम कुछ ऑटोनॉमी कॉलेज यूनिवर्सिटीज को देंगे, ये हमने सजेस्ट कर रखा है। अब जैसे ही वो इम्प्लीमेंट होगा तो कॉमन एक्ट है, कॉमन सिलेबस है, ये सब चीजें यूजी लेवल पर पर्टिकुलरली। पीजी के लेवल पर हम ऑटोनॉमी चाहते हैं क्योंकि हर यूनिवर्सिटी के अलग अलग स्पेशलाइजेशन है, उस हिसाब से वो अपना सिलेबस बनाएंगे। लेकिन यूजी लेवल पर कम से कम एक जैसा सिलेबस हो जो कि नेशनल लेवल की चीज को, क्योंकि यहाँ का बच्चा जब नेशनल लेवल के आईएएस और आईसीएस के एग्जाम देगा तो वो उसी तरह का प्रिपेयर्ड हो, जिससे कि हम चाहे कि वो नेशनल लेवल पर भी अपना प्रेजेंटेशन कर सके। तो ये सिलेबस तो होना ही चाहिए और बोर्ड ऑफ स्टडीज में सबका इन्वॉल्वमेंट होना चाहिए, क्योंकि जो स्टेट लेवल की हम बॉडी बना रहे हैं उसमें हम सबका पार्टिसिपेशन चाहेंगे, सभी लोग अपना अपना व्यू दें और उसके बाद में कंसेंसस से वो सिलेबस बने।
जी जी सर, ठीक, थैंक यू सर।
Dr. Aarti, you may ask your question.
Hello, good
Yes, ma'am.
evening. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Sir, good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am, Pratibha ma'am. And actually, I just want to thank Shruti ma'am and Meenakshi ma'am also to giving voice to what I was feeling at right at this moment, because we are also sailing in the same boat. We are working in government college, and as I 100% agree with you, sir, that neck has become a fear in our mind, because that we know that we cannot fulfill certain criteria, we cannot come into that criteria. There are lot many reasons for it, but your assurance has just given me a hope, and in future we look forward that we'll have more we'll have a uniform capacity building things, and we'll have more resources also. But my one request is for Pratibha ma'am is that when you just, there must be, though there must be a uniform correction, you know, when you put into the standards, but we lag behind, government colleges lag behind, because that is not our fault. Sometimes we are victimized because of universities also, because I'm in Savai Madhopur and a college comes under Kota University. So there are many things where we cannot come up to that standard which you require for NEC accreditation and for UGC norms. So just keep that thing in mind when you consider us, when you give us marks and all. I know it is not possible, but still there must be some bonus marks also for people who are in far remote areas and who are just struggling hard and striving to achieve that excellence which is achieved by colleges having infrastructure and many things. I hope I could give my voice, I could raise my voice to before you, and it was a wonderful session from both of you. And so I just salutations for both of you for giving us such information, which was very informative and which was very comprehensive. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Tushan Kumar Sharma, you may ask your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. I am very happy that Professor Praveen Trivedi is here, and he has brought so many innovative ideas in his university, and presently he is Vice Chancellor of MDS University also. I was also Vice Chancellor. Sir, I would like to ask one question that we are discussing in view of NEP 2020, that how NAAC would modulate, or what kind of criteria would be there when those states who are implementing NEP 2020. There are possibilities that one can come out multiple entry and multiple exit system is there. Another thing which I was hearing, problems related to government colleges. I was Dean PG, I was Dean Faculty of Science. PG colleges are facing difficulties and they are raising questions about the research and other thing. But you know, what I have observed, and Professor Trivedi has also mentioned, that we should go for quality research. Simple repetition of things is not a research. One should have some breakthrough in his or her research program. When NAAC team go, I have been to many places as a peer team chairman and member also. Most of the time, you know, they are showing the results of their simple repetition of the research, and they are losing marks. And the current criteria where 70% is assessed by at the level of the NAAC and 30% we are going and visiting. So those things, some innovation in the curriculum. Colleges, they say that we can't do because we are affiliated to a particular university. I developed a system that if a proposal comes in the Board of Studies, I was convener Board of Studies for 24 years in my university. A proposal comes from the college, is put before the Board of Studies, and if the proposal has got some innovative idea or a good justification in the modification in the curriculum, some good courses like in JNR and Vyas University, Professor Trivedi has recently introduced wildlife studies course. Such courses are required. Those courses which are required in view of the COVID-19, such things should be introduced. He has rightly mentioned that those institutions which they had grade A or A plus or A plus plus, they are coming down. The attendance system is also falling. The students' retention is also not good. Whenever we visit the placement cells, I am sure that all of you are sitting here, it is simply a formality. The alumni and placement cells, they are just doing when we are visiting. So there are certain things we'll have to look in view of NEP 2020 so that we can design. There was a webinar a few days ago, I participated from the NAAC, where they discussed that what kind of involvement 60-40, 70-30. I mean the assessment by the assessors, it should be 30%, 40%, 50%, etc. So these things have to be put in question. So Trivedi ji, please tell that how we are modulating in NAAC criteria in view of NEP 2020. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Shyam sir?
Yes, madam. जी मैडम. I think प्रवीण सर का वो low bandwidth problem कुछ issue हुआ त्रिवेदी सर को.
Yeah, no message, no reply is coming from Professor Trivedi.
I think there is some bandwidth issue, sir.
Maybe network issue. Anyway, anybody who is sitting from NAAC here may tell about it. But how we'll be dealing in view of NEP 2020, because this is the main theme of today's webinar.
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah, I would like to address some issues which you have raised and voiced through this forum. You highlighted that there are limitations, there are constraints, and there are some problems. And for the namesake, the people are doing and managing the peers team visits, and at the time of NAC, only for the namesake things are there. And while in actual quality related repetitive research they are doing. So these are the issues, but we are trying to incorporate and take the feedbacks at regular. You only told us that you have interacted with NAC about where we are taking the consultations, and this particular webinar is also to motivate the institution to think about the implementation aspects. Like for example, there are some issues in implementation when we talk about the curriculum. You cannot change the curriculum. It has to be changed from the university level. There are issues with the colleges, affiliated colleges and government colleges. But certain things are within our control. And like for example, morning we were listening to one of the research person and he was telling about there is no boundaries in which the innovation can be brought about in the classroom. So at an individual level, what we can do, how we can implement, how we can contribute towards the implementation is what we have to see. And NAC is not just giving the marks on the basis of what efforts you are putting in for implementation of NEP. We are just trying to take an opinion, take your preparedness and what you can like through including these aspects in our manual. We are trying to measure your efforts and your plan of action for the future. Some states have already initiated and adopted the policy, like for example, Karnataka, you can see that implementation is at a very rapid rate, or Madhya Pradesh, for example. So states are, I mean, contextually different, and therefore we try that we should see the neighboring states also sometimes and try to wise up for the policy changes at the terms of the policy changes which are required at the state level. So this is all from my side. I request Trivedi sir if he wants to address the issue what sir has raised. Trivedi sir. Your voice is not reaching to us. I think you have to unmute.
What I feel that we should have a state level accreditation council also that we have suggested, so that we can prepare our colleges and universities for NAC. And what I feel that 30, 70 that assessment criteria developed by NAC, I feel that it should be 50-50. So that when we go to a particular college, then we see that there are so many things they have done very well, looking to their conditions available at that particular place. So there should be some flexibility in that part also. And although NAC has already made so many things for the colleges, for university they have different criteria. More research is emphasis is given at university level. But what I feel that at state level, as usually I have visited most of the colleges in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, and I have observed that they are better as compared to the northern state. And because they are going for third or fourth cycle, and here most of the colleges even they have not gone for the first cycle. So when they will assess at least for first or second cycle, then they will improve. and in Maharashtra also many colleges and universities they have gone for the fourth cycle. So at state level there was more emphasis to the colleges and other. But I feel that here also in the state we have to move further in that direction. And when there was a Vice Chancellor Coordination Committee meeting this year particularly, I have specially mentioned to the Honorable Chancellor that there should be a mechanism that every college and university they should apply to the NAAC for assessment, so that they should evaluate themselves that what is their position, and next time हो सकता है अभी कम आए, next time they will improve. So but by fear they are not applying, that is not good. So our education secretary was also, Nayak was also very good, and he said that we are also preparing in that direction. But the most problem in our Rajasthan state is that 70% posts are lying vacant. And in some of the colleges, there is one teacher only in one college. So many colleges are there in government colleges where one or two teachers are there. So how you can think of NEC and other thing? Even the sufficient teachers are not available. So that requirement is there. What I feel that out of our discussion, you can also send to the letter to our higher authorities of the state government and Chancellor, Honorable Chancellor, that filling of the post and all minimum requirements should be fulfilled so that we can go ahead with all this NEC requirement. Yes, ma'am.
Usha, any more
Rajesh Pandit?
participants?
Yes, sir. Rajesh Pandit, you may ask your question.
Given message, I have written in the chat box my questions, and if anybody could answer those.
Shall I read out the question, sir?
Yeah.
Some are comments and one is question. Final one is a question.
NEP framework is known, but how this would be quantified? And until implementation of NEP 2020 becomes mandatory for the states, how could one think of its implementation in states?
In Rajasthan, state government has still not accepted and implemented. We are under process. But we are preparing and asking all the universities and colleges to start something which is given already in our NEP. That is how to use the technology and other things. But for other part, we are waiting for the green signal from the state government, because we need special grant also, and the bodies we have suggested, 4 or 5 bodies at state level, particularly framing of the higher education council is the need of the hour. Immediately state government should frame that body, so that under that chairmanship of that higher education council we can implement NEP 20 at state level and in all the universities and colleges in a similar way. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for every individual university to implement NEP. At state level, we have to frame all these directions for all the universities and colleges. That will be done in that after receiving green signal from the state only.
I agree. But until the teaching posts are filled, as you rightly said, until the teaching posts are filled, I mean, it is just impossible to diversify in so many fields. It's just not possible, I think. And the first emphasis with the state government should be to fill up all the vacant posts. Without
Yeah.
that, no policy can be implemented, no course can be taught.
You have rightly said. And there are very small colleges where only you have arts, no science. Some colleges only science. So multidisciplinary, a student who is in physics want to opt for music course. If music subject is not available, then how you can that student can opt?
Exactly.
Many problems are there. Yeah, that is true. And we are all aware about all these things. But step by step, we have to go, and whatever we have, we want to implement in best optimum way. Choice based study system we have to implement at colleges level, that we have not done. तो वो सब चीज जब तक नहीं होगा, अभी यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल पर ही है, वो इसीलिए हम इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं कर रहे हैं कॉलेजेस में, बिकॉज ऑल दीज फैसिलिटीज, particularly teaching faculties are not available, all faculties are not available in all colleges. So all these things are there, but our national policy, that what I said in my first remark, that it is bunch of expectations are there, very good policy from school level to university level, but we have to start from the school level also. So
And secondly, sir, the elementary education and the school education is a straight subject, and until there's a demand by the center that the state will have to follow this, nothing can be done, because everything has to start from the schools.
Yeah, that is true. We have to increase the gross enrollment ratio also. अभी जो enrollment है उसी के लिए teacher नहीं है. If we increase the sections and other things, so that will take another so many years. I mean, and state is not funding properly in education field particularly. तो है ही. But you have to implement, तो ये है कि step by step it will take some time, but I think ये होना है. और मैंने जैसा आपको बताया कि हायर एजुकेशन काउंसिल बनाना पहली आवश्यकता है, because that council will look after the whole state, जो किस तरह से इम्प्लीमेंट करना है, किस तरह से हम अपने सिलेबस कॉमन बनाएंगे, वो सब उसके थ्रू होगा. और रेगुलेटरी बॉडी भी होगी, वो सबको रेगुलेट करेगी, बिकॉज वी हैव प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटीज इन द स्टेट. राजस्थान इज हैविंग 89 यूनिवर्सिटी, हाईएस्ट नंबर ऑफ यूनिवर्सिटी इन इंडिया. 83 यूनिवर्सिटी यूपी में है, बट राजस्थान की पॉपुलेशन 7 करोड़ है, वहाँ 89 यूनिवर्सिटी है. 25 करोड़ की आबादी वाले के अंदर 83 यूनिवर्सिटी है. तो वो भी बहुत बड़ी एक है कि इतनी सारी यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं, लेकिन देयर इज नो रेगुलेटरी बॉडी to control other universities. We have only 27 state-funded university. All other are private university.
Yeah, I know.
तो ये तो बहुत बड़ी बात है, ये देखना बहुत जरूरी है. लेकिन वो जब तक वो स्टेट लेवल का एक बॉडी बन जाएगा, तो वो रेगुलेटरी बॉडी होगा, उसका काम होगा कि वो भी वही सिलेबस पढ़ा रहे हैं जो हम पढ़ा रहे हैं, वही चीज. उनके भी टीचर का रिक्रूटमेंट वैसा ही हो रहा है जैसा हम हो रहा है. ऐसा नहीं कि 5,000 में वो टीचर का अपॉइंटमेंट कर रहे हैं. सब स्टैंडर्ड टीचर्स दे आर अपॉइंटिंग, substandard education they are giving. Similarly, as in private colleges, what we are observing, कुछ पढ़ाई हो नहीं रही है, बच्चों का एडमिशन हो रहा है और एग्जाम हो रहा है. तो दिस इज ऑल रबिश इन दैट सेंस. जो हम चाह रहे हैं क्वालिटी इंप्रूवमेंट करना, उसके लिए हर चीज के लिए रेगुलेशन का इम्प्लीमेंटेशन बहुत बड़ी पार्ट इम्पोर्टेंट है, वो हमको देखना होगा.
वो गवर्नमेंट को देखना है सर. आप तो वही कर सकते हैं. गवर्नमेंट
we are suggesting all these things.
नहीं, गवर्नमेंट को करना ही नहीं है साहब. नहीं तो वो ऐसी प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटीज अलाउ क्यों करते विदाउट एनी रेगुलेशन, विदाउट एनी रेगुलेटरी बॉडी? आई मीन दिस इज अ हम्बग बाय द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. थैंक यू सर.
वेलकम.
I think sir, there are no more I think raise hands or queries by the participants. Now may I kindly request Dr. Pratibha Singh, Madam, Deputy Advisor, please propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Shyam. And actually, I would like to just respond to the previous speakers. I am very much thankful to all the participants and stakeholders who have been interacting. We know that there are problems at the state level, at the university level, but unless we find out the solution, unless we discuss, unless we chalk out the plan of action to implement, unless we will be able to know the resources requirement, we will not be able to project those points to the government. So that is the basic aim of these awareness programs, and I hope we will be able to write down some plan of action when we are going to submit the requirements and the self-study report to NAAC. So with the same, this program was organized, and hopefully we will be able to interact in future also with such activities. So we have come to the end of this program. I would like to give a formal vote of thanks to all the panelists and the speakers. So beginning with my head of the institution, firstly, I would like to thank our Honorable Director, Professor S.C. Sharma ji, who has been motivating us to participate and to activate, to encourage us for the enthusiastically taking these kinds of activity for the stakeholders. I would like to thank the today's chief guest of the program, Dr. Trivedi, and the State Higher Education Council members, Dr. Vimlesh Soni ji and Dr. Shruti Gupta ji, for motivating the higher education institutions of the state of Rajasthan. I would like to thank the entire Northern Region committee headed by Dr. Jagannath Patil and other colleagues, Dr. Vinita Sahu and Shyam Singh Linda, for coordinating the activities, and the entire ICT team, Pushya Lakshmi, for supporting this activity technically from back end. Last but not the least, all the participants who have been actively listening the deliberations and interacting with the different stakeholders. Thank you one and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, one and all, the panelists, the chief guests, the participants from Rajasthan Higher Education Technical Council, and all the participants. We hope for such webinars in future, and we also anticipate a future cooperation. Because of all of you, only this program or this webinar has been successful. Once again, thank you to all of you. May I request ICT team, now can we close the webinar?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Trivedi sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.